What do you think of this phone? Can you show them the phone?
What do you got? That looks like a, is that a...
So, OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yeah. So...
Okay.
Hey, go pee! Me and my boy are talking about one of this 1.7 Plus Pro. So, I've been in IT for 20 years. And that is probably the best phone ever.
Goddamn. About 4 years ago, they were just the newbies on the block. They were an attempt. They were signage in OS. They were the invite system. They were GSM only. They were faking benchmarks. They were, hey, come break your phone, we'll give you ours for $1. Now, they're the $669 flagship killing, refresh rate loving, bezel discriminating, muffin smuggling, Popeye punching OnePlus 7 Pro. And this is probably my favorite phone since maybe the Nexus 6, which for some people that may seem a little weird, but I freaking love that phone. Regardless, this device is not only very impressive, it's very important. So let's talk about it. Let's backtrack to a few weeks ago before this phone dropped. There were only a few ways in which you can get a phone with a baller display, best-in-class performance, and a software experience that not only a mother could love. You could spend close to $1,000 or more, or you could expose your sis to get vitamin sold. But those are really your only two options at this moment. So let's talk about that screen. Big, bright, and freaking beautiful is the best and only way to describe it. It is 6.7 inches of 1440p AMOLED goodness, which is something we've seen before, so why should you care now? Well, they took something as simple as the refresh rate and bumped it up an extra 30 hertz, and that essentially made it the best smartphone display in the known universe. It has definitely taken a toll on the battery life compared to previous generation OnePlus devices, but in my opinion, it's honestly a worthwhile trade-off. That extra fluidity just makes everything better. Gaming, movies, and then the lack of bezels on the display just completes that perfect entertainment experience. Like, OnePlus has literally actualized those goofy iPhone 7 and 8 renderings that all the kids in middle school thought were real because they found them on Google. Yeah, OnePlus beat them to the punch. Underneath that display, you'll also find a fingerprint reader, and props to the OGs at OP for genuinely improving on it. For context on what I mean, just watch this.
I feel like this is more of an experimental feature, and like I said, they could have waited a year to improve on the technology a bit more. But overall, you know, it's here now, so we got to deal with it. And it does look pretty cool when unlocking it. They have these like little animations you can switch between. I kind of think some of them are cheesy, but overall, it's a pretty good feature.
Yeah, I don't sound too damn convincing, do I? Yeah, that's honestly because when the 6T initially launched, the fingerprint reader was pretty unreliable, no cap. And while it still isn't as reliable in terms of accuracy compared to a traditional fingerprint reader, it's still perfectly usable, which is a step in the right direction. They'll nail it eventually. OnePlus's latest and greatest is now rocking 3 Reggies, and they've honestly made a pretty good camera system this time around. So much so that I'll be using it as my daily Android phone, as opposed to my Pixel 3a, which is kind of close to having the best smartphone camera, pretty much. You've got your wide-angle lens, which is your GoPro-like POV joint. You've got your standard lens for your everyday shots, and then you've got the telephoto lens, which is one of the most prominent features of the new camera system. This is the peeping Tom's dream. This is the camera you pull out when you're at the zoo and you're waiting for the depressed lion to do something cool. Well, sorry to say, it probably won't, but whatever shots you do get will be pretty sharp and detailed. I think the weakest aspect of the cameras as a whole is contrast and dynamic range. Comparing it to the gold standard, which is the Pixel, photos tend to be a little washed out and lacking in dynamic range, but it's still a good camera, just not the best. Everything else is there. Sharpness and details are superb. It's a perfectly usable camera for the everyday stuff. I'll have a folder down in the description that you can check out. It's got a bunch of photos that I've personally taken with the phone, and they're all unedited and straight out of the camera. And speaking of coming out, I have a confession. I've been hiding something from the world. Actually, I haven't, but OnePlus has. They've hidden the front-facing camera inside of the phone, so now it just pops up like a peeping pocket gopher. There are 2 things when I think about when I use this. Number 1, goddamn, I feel really cool. Number 2, it's actually pretty good. I'm no selfie connoisseur by any means, but it definitely gets the job done for me. Half of the tech press already had their reviews out before my review unit even left the warehouse. So if you want to know every single detail about the phone, you can check out channels like T and Woo, WDHD, or Zach Blickstein, who are always the first in line to deliver the latest and greatest in tech. I just want to talk about the most prominent features of the phone and what's really new. But everything else is the same dope story. You're getting fast and fluid software with more features than the phone that Google makes. You're getting the fastest charging times in a smartphone. They're saying a day's power in a half hour. That's not a joke. And you're getting more power in a phone than you really need. This phone is it. I do, however, want to address a lot of the complaints that reviewers are having with this smartphone in terms of missing features and why you should stop being a big baby about it. I have no idea why my light just turned purple, if you can even notice, but it just did. Let's get into it.
So the first major thing that people are complaining about the 7 Pro is that it doesn't have an official IP rating for water resistance. Well, firstly, if OnePlus were to do this on top of paying Robert Downey Jr. for marketing, they'd be selling this phone at a loss. And secondly,
people are also, as usual, complaining about the lack of a headphone jack on the 7 Pro. And there are many reasons for why that is, but the main...
I know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, but to fail nonetheless. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny arrives, all the same. I am inevitable. I am AirPods.
And I am not going to accept the fact that people are still complaining about this. Like, seriously, Apple did it, you know? So your fate is kind of sealed, you know? Just let go, move on. She ain't coming back, bro. And lastly, the lack of wireless charging. Yes, the Pixel phones have got it. The S10s got it. The iPhones got it. But how much do those cost again? Right. I mean, this phone is top tier and cheaper than all of them. You can't seriously expect to get everything for less. You just gotta have your cake and eat it too, huh? Well, guess what? You can't. But you know what you can do? You can subscribe for future content like this and give it a like if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.
So is that one a dual SIM?
Yes, it is.
I like his hair.
Oh, thank you.
you hear those people screaming? That's Huawei. ARM, Google, everybody else, they just left them. That's Huawei. That's Huawei.